reprogramming cells with epigenetic. Why get young cells from other people if you can return your own cells to their youthful vigor? That's the promise of epigenetic reprogramming. All kinds of different cell types originate from one cell originally, says Shelly Berger of UPenn. So the turning on of certain genes to lead to a brain cell or a skin cell or a liver cell is important. And so you can imagine that the loss of that information, when it goes awry, could lead to some big problems. People talk colloquially about turning genes off or on, but what's really happening is winding up or unwinding strands of DNA. Some enzymes in the cell wind genes into spools, known as chromatin, blocking RNA molecules from reading the instructions for producing proteins. Other chemicals unspool the chromatin, making the genes readable. Pollution, radiation, bad diet, lack of exercise, and other stressors can damage both DNA and epigenetic mechanisms. Shelly Berger and colleagues are studying a therapy for nerve cells using an unspooling enzyme called acetyl-CoA synthetase. That leads to turning on genes that are involved in learning and memory and creating new circuitry in the brain, she says. Another take on renewing the epigenome is getting the most hype and money, and it has a link to stem cells. In 2012, Shinya Yamanaka won the Nobel Prize for developing a way to convert an adult cell, one specialized for brain, muscle, or bone, back into an undifferentiated cell which can turn into anything. These induced pluripotent stem cells are one arm of stem cell therapies. Yamanaka discovered and lent his name to 4 proteins, called transcription factors, that drive this transformation. In 2016, researchers at the Salk Institute announced that the right mix of Yamanaka factors, administered in the right cadence, could take the process just part way. It converts a cell not back to its undifferentiated form, but just back to a younger version with a youthful epigenome. They demonstrated these results in whole mice, as well as samples of human cells, which both showed reversal of many aspects of aging. The work was led by Juan Carlos Izpisua Belmonte, who would go on to play a major role in the multi-billion-dollar anti-aging crusade. But the biggest name in cellular reprogramming is David Sinclair. While many proponents speak haltingly about reversing aging, rather than just slowing it, Sinclair and his team are unambiguous. Our work has led us to identify reprogramming factors that we believe will enable us to reset a cell's epigenetic status and reverse its age, reads the Sinclair Lab website. Sinclair declined an interview but did answer questions over email. That philosophy is right in the title of his 2019 best-selling book, Lifespan: Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to. In January 2023, Brenner published a science-based review of Lifespan and the accompanying podcast. It reiterates his Twitter critique of the sirtuine and resveratrol theories and adds warnings about epigenetic reprogramming. In 2020, Sinclair and a gaggle of researchers published a paper claiming to have improved vision in mice suffering from glaucoma, using Yamanaka factors to give damaged optic nerve cells regenerative ability. They claimed similar results in individual human cells. That's a nice paper, says Shelly Berger, who was not involved in it. But the blockbuster came in a collaborative study from January 2023, which included Berger. Many news articles about the study feature a side-by-side photo of treated and untreated twin mice, one grizzled and gray, one bushy and ebony. A CNN article alluded to Benjamin Button. An interview with Sinclair in the Harvard Gazette was titled, "Has the first person to live to be 150 been born?" Delivering Yamanaka factors is tough. It requires loading them into viruses that then infect the cells. But a Sinclair collaboration reported last July that cocktails of much simpler substances, called small molecules, can imitate what Yamanaka factors do. This new discovery offers the potential to reverse aging with a single pill, wrote Sinclair in July on what was still called Twitter. No surprise, Charles Brenner is skeptical. It starts with the dangers in the older process of using Yamanaka factors to create stem cells. You have to realize the vast majority of the treated cells either die or go down some very undesirable lineage, he says, including teratomas and malignancies. Malignancy is spreadable cancer. Teratomas are freakish growths in which the wrong kind of cells grow in the wrong places. Imagine hair and teeth growing in your pelvis. Numerous reprogramming studies either explicitly say that cancer didn't occur or don't mention it as a result. Sinclair says that a reprogramming study from 2020 didn't find elevated rates of cancer in mice. But that's not proof enough for Brenner. I don't think that healthy humans will ever be enrolled in an ethical clinical trial of Yamanaka factors, because the risk of cancer will be too great, he says. Kaberlein agrees that cancer is a concern, but is also cautiously optimistic. Conceptually, given how it works and what's been done so far, it's possible that we could get to the point where we're talking about doubling, or even more, the healthy lifespan of a mammal, of a mouse, for example, and maybe someday in people, he says. But he's not impressed by the current evidence and says that the tests of the reprogramming cocktails provided only preliminary indication that they might work. Here's where the hype has gotten ahead of the reality, he says. And unfortunately, this has been intentionally presented in a dishonest way, I believe. Though lesser known than Sinclair is Pisua Belmonte of the original 2016 reprogramming study is emerging as one of the most powerful players in anti-aging. In 2022, he launched reprogramming company Altos Labs, which has attracted about $3 billion in funding from Silicon Valley captains. It's also attracted top talent, such as Morgan Levine, formerly of Yale, and Steve Horvath, formerly of UCLA, who have developed controversial methods for measuring cellular aging. There may be some hype, but it's taken very seriously, says Berger. There's a lot of work being done, and Altos is serious. Altos is the biggest, but not the only, massively funded anti-aging company. Others include Biosciences, which is working on cellular reprogramming as well as other technologies and has raised $180 million. According to Crunchbase, and drug discovery company Recursion Pharmaceuticals, which has attracted over $665 million. David Sinclair is a co-founder of Life Biosciences, which works on epigenetic reprogramming and has been funded to $206.8 million. Such companies and their backers most inspire the trope of the crazy billionaire who wants to live forever, while several billionaires and other very wealthy people are backing the anti-aging movement. Technologies like epigenetic reprogramming are far too nascent to conclude whether or not these supporters are crazy. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe, like, and comment.